welcome everyone to another DeFi Raiders AMA. My name is Relentless. Today I have the pleasure again of hosting one of the true gigabrains in the space, the CEO of Revest Finance, Rob. So welcome back, my man. Really appreciate your time and always good to have you on here.
Always good to be here, Relentless. It is a true pleasure getting to talk to you and getting to share information about what we've been up to. And today we are going to be talking about our brand new retail-friendly tool, the Regen Portal.
Yeah. Let's kind of dig into that. So just for the people who are going to be hearing this kind of the first time, do you want to give kind of just a quick overview of what Resonate is so they'll understand how this fits into the big picture?
Yeah, so the basic idea behind Resonate is that if you've got a position that you're going to be earning yield on over a period of time, you might like to get a fixed rate on that up front instead of having to wait the entire period that it's going to take for that yield to come. So you can come to Resonate, you can get paid today. You'll get paid slightly less normally than the position would typically accrue. And that might mean that, if GLP is doing normally 27%, you can come to Resonate and get 25%. And you'll get paid up front. You will lock up your capital for that period of time, whatever period it is. It can be a month, it can be a week, it can be a year. And you'll get the upfront interest right now, which you can then turn around and use for any number of things. And any number of things is what we built the Regen Portal to help people understand how getting yield up front is such a powerful thing. Shall I go on?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Continue. Sorry, I thought I lost you there for a second.
No, I was going to leave it in, yeah, we'll keep going.
Yeah.
So the basic idea is you bring, let's say, 100 GLP to us, to the Regen Portals, app.resonate.finance/Regen, REGEN. And you go there, and you got 100 GLP. Okay, you take that 100 GLP and you get paid upfront, and this is actually for the first 420,000, now 390,000, because we've already seen 30,000 in volume in like an hour. Well, for the first 390,000 now dollars that go into it, we're going to be paying 1.1% for a 1 week lockup, which is 57.2% annualized. So you get a week's worth of yield right now, and that means that you are able to do the next step in the Regen Portal, which is to take that week's worth of yield. In this case, if you deposited $100 of GLP, you get $1.10 upfront immediately in USDC. So the next step that we walk you through is we help you open a position on GMX or MUX, which are the two most well-known perp protocols. Now, what that means is that you're opening a long or a short on Ethereum for or against it. And in doing so, you're only using the upfront yield that you just got paid to open that perpetual. So what that means is that if you take 110x leverage, 100x leverage on MUX, which is the highest leverage available, you can take a semi-stable asset like GLP, which pretty much hangs around $1 in value, and you have $100 of GLP, you can get $110 of exposure to Ethereum, because you're up to 100 leverage right now, right? 100 leverage on $1.10. And the really cool thing here is that, sure, that's a very dangerous trade, but when/if you get liquidated, the only thing you lose is the upfront yield. You don't actually lose the principal at all. What you put in to kick things off, what you actually risked, what you put into Resonate, it's not risked. It's completely safe. Whatever happens with your perpetual, the $100 of GLP you showed up with initially, it's just sitting in a beefy yield farm generating yield for the guy who paid you up front. So it's not at risk. And what this means is that we've been able to create principal protected perpetuals. So you can open a really high leverage perp without risking losing your principal at all. That's the lowdown. That is what the Regen portal is. And it just walks you through the steps to get that set up and going.
Yeah, very cool. So it's this is like high leverage degenning, but for people who want to play it safe with degenning.
Exactly. And that's why we call it Regen. Responsible degen.
Yeah, perfect sense. All right, very cool. Okay, so all right, so who is this kind of? All right, so you use an example of $100 of GLP, right? So and then it's only $1.10 for the leverage, right? So generally this isn't necessarily geared currently towards your just basic retail traders. So really, who are you guys trying to attract? Who are you guys trying to attract currently with this?
So this tool is geared toward retail. Now, why is it geared toward retail? That's a very interesting strategic question. The actual target audience for Resonate is institutions. But what we found is that those institutions themselves, they have a lot of degen traders on their staff. They hang out in the same places we do. They chill on crypto Twitter. They're in groups with us. You wouldn't even know they work for hedge funds. You wouldn't even know that they're working for JP Morgan or any of the massive players who are quietly entering this space. But they do, and they hear about stuff the same way we do, from retail excitement and retail interest. And with Resonate, one of our big driving decisions has been, okay, this thing makes a lot of sense at scale, and that means that we are targeting institutional traders by and large. But to get better awareness of what we offer and to really, get people talking about what we can do and how powerful our system is, we've also figured out that from a marketing perspective, it makes sense to give retail something they can talk about, to give retail a demonstration of why getting a fixed upfront rate is such a beneficial financial instrument. And that's where Regen comes in. Regen is that instrument. And the goal of it is to help people understand why this is a useful tool and to get them talking about it.
Yeah, very cool. All right, so let's talk a little bit about like kind of some of the mechanics and then some of the kind of questions that I was wondering as I was going through this. I mean, obviously you just explained how it works, right? Deposit the money, a person, whoever is on the other end, right, is making all the extra yield based off like the beefy pool, right? They're just paying the upfront fixed rate there. So kind of what's the max capital currently that a user can deposit to receive that upfront yield from?
So the max capital that a user can deposit isn't actually capped. Okay. It's just however much someone has taken the opposite side of. For Regen currently, I think it can support a little bit less than $1 million, close to about 800,000 with just current deposits. But that can very easily be re-upped. Like, I will take those orders myself because they're profitable. Often. Not always. Sometimes the person who's underwriting the deal loses, but that's cost of doing business. The person who's taking the side that the Regen portal offers people, the safe side, they don't lose. They always get paid up front their fixed rate. It's guaranteed. It just happens. So they don't have to worry about yield rates fluctuating all over the place and whether it was a profitable trade or not. It's a profitable trade guaranteed for them.
Okay, so it's basically only capped at what the underwriter is willing to pay for it. So
Yep.
very cool.
Currently, that's about 800,000.
Okay, very cool, very cool. So, and then, all right, very cool. Okay, so a couple other kind of questions here. Sorry, I was writing out this script, just kind of all the ways I was thinking about it, just kind of the questions that I had as I went, and I was just kind of wondering a few different things. So currently, you guys use GMX and Mux, right? So what other platforms, that people are familiar with, are you guys aiming to work with for this?
So we very much like what's going on in Optimism as well.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment, we're mostly focused on Arbitrum because that's where the biggest DeFi derivative sector is, and that's where the best yields that we've seen on single assets are. That all said, we have nothing. We are not at all opposed to working with Quinta or one of the other synthetics-based markets that I've recently seen. I think, who was it? Someone just dropped yesterday. It was Conduit. Yes, Conduit that dropped yesterday. So we're not at all opposed to working with any marketplace who's got good liquidity and well taken care of reputation. So we're happy to support whatever perps it makes sense to. The higher the leverage, typically, the better.
Yeah. So have you considered, like, for example, are you familiar with infinity pools yet?
No, I've never heard of them.
Okay, so I interviewed them a while back ago. They're an unlimited leverage, non-liquidating protocol. So I think that,
Interesting.
yeah, right. I'll send you some data on that. That might be kind of interesting to see how this can play into that, because if you can offer, right, you guarantee to get your yield back, and take a max or an unlimited kind of leverage position, like that opens up a whole new world for you guys too. So that would be super cool to think about as well.
It's really cool, man.
Yeah, it hasn't launched yet, but in the works.
No, I mean, we have guys who are looking at with other similar concepts. Stuff like, instead of leverage trading, leverage yield farming with the upfront.
Mm-hmm.
So in an ideal world, you deposit USDC, and you take that upfront and plug that back into something more high risk and high reward. Something like leverage GLP, for instance. And things very quickly get interesting from there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of directions this can go. All right.
Oh, it's got a lot of potential. I'm really excited to see how it plays out.
Yeah,
we literally just launched, so
I'm excited to mess around with it, because I'm a terrible trader. So the idea of not losing anything but money that I already didn't own is a good concept for me. So I'm excited to mess around with it and see if maybe I can turn a little bit of money into some more. All right. Okay. So a couple other questions, right? So how do the liquidations work for this?
So yeah, the only way you can get liquidated on this is when you're doing something like if you do 100x leverage, right? So come to Resonate, you get $1.10 upfront on $100. Come to the regen port, you get paid. Okay, take that $1.10 and then you lever that up 100x. If you get liquidated, you lose the $1.10. But if you don't get liquidated, you end up making much higher returns than you might have otherwise made. I have a buddy, he's actually our community manager, and he's actually, I think he's here. He made 600% returns on his perk the other day. And that allowed, had it been the $1.10 we're talking about, he would have been up 6.6% in a week. What is that annualized? I think that's like 350% annual.
Yeah.
It's
a little
absurd.
bit.
It's truly absurd.
Yeah, that's pretty.
I mean, that's the thing, is it's. Go on.
So that's pretty good returns for guaranteeing your capital back. That's what I like. That's my big thing.
Oh yeah, no. Literally, you either make money on perps and get your capital back, or you just get your capital back.
Yeah.
No matter what, you get your money back.
Yeah, such a great selling point. Guarantee your capital back. That was what when you first told me that, when we first talked about Resonate, I was like, oh baby, that's the ticket right there, because I have wagered my capital way too many times and never got it back. So,
dude, I don't want to talk about the BNB position I had a while back.
I think we've all been there. So,
shorting BNB was not the right call at this point.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I had one profitable trade. This is a little off topic, but I've only really had one truly profitable trade, and I shorted Bitcoin when CZ tweeted out that he was selling all his FTX, and that's the most and probably only truly profitable trade I've ever had. Other than that, I've lost. So
yeah. I've won a few times, but my losses more or less eat my gains. So
yeah,
I wouldn't say that I'm good at it. I'd say that I'm good enough that I don't lose anything.
Yeah, I just kind of, to be honest, until I take a full-scale trading course, I kind of just stop doing it. I just learn about the projects that are out there and try to, learn the mechanics. But I'm staying away from that portion. I'm sticking to what I'm good at, which is finding projects and talking to people like you. So that's where I'm trying to stay in my lane. Okay, so back to Regen. So another really cool feature is your lockup period, which, with Resonate, your lockup period was already, relatively short to guarantee your money back, but your lockup period is only a week here. So what was kind of the reason for only having the 1 week lockup period? Like, that's only 1 week of yield for whoever's underwriting it, but what was kind of the rationale there? How to balance that between the buyer and whoever's in the seller there?
Well, yeah, we just found from experience that people typically don't really like long lockups. They're not fans of them. And based on that, we were like, okay, well, we can either go with an ultra long lockup, like a month, or we can go with something, really short where it's not super high yield you get up front, but at the same time, you just loop it the very next week. So we wanted to give people a lot of optionality in how they approach this. And that way, it wouldn't be such of a problem if things didn't work out. Just pull out, for lack of a better way to put it. If you do it 1 week and then the next week it'll work out GLP, you can sell it. But you do it for a month, then suddenly you're less confident in GLP, you're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to make sure that people had the optionality that they needed.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, very cool. And I'm one of those guys, right? It's anything you could probably sell me, depending on the protocol, to lock my money up for 90 days. But I've made the mistake of locking some stuff up for 4 years. That is money that's gone. And even at 90 days, after being in the space for a little while, I'm like, man, 90 days even seems like a long time. So
I'm sorry, man, that sucked.
Yeah, I did the one good lockup that I did was I didn't know what it was, but my buddy told me to buy Oath from the Byte Masons, and I was like, sure, that sounds cool. You know more than me. Turns out he didn't, but he had more money than me, so I thought he did. And I bought Oath, and that turned out to not be a terrible deal for me. But otherwise, they were all those long lockup periods didn't really work out in my favor. So.
I actually haven't even checked what's going on with my Oath. Is it up?
I haven't checked it in a few days, but I mean, I just collected it over time, and I'm just holding it and seeing what happens. So.
Damn, it is down 50% from its recent peak. That is painful.
Yeah, I mean everything's going down right now. So.
Yeah. Not quite sure why. Market doesn't really make any sense. I don't try to understand it.
Nah.
Our focus, man, has just been on like getting new clients, getting real connections put together. I mean, working on getting some wholesale stuff set up with prime brokerages. Working on getting more hedge funds onboarded. It's mostly institutional.
Yeah. And I mean that's got to be a huge focus right now. We talk about mass adoption, right? And without institutional TradFi money coming in, you're never going to see true mass adoption because you're never going to see the growth that we really need to see. So to have projects like yourself and other projects that I've talked to that are kind of focused on the institutional side, we can, degens want a degen, right? But inevitably, without TradFi institutional money coming in, those opportunities are never going to grow to the scale that we need them to for DeFi to really flourish. So
that is a fantastic summation. I mean, I am very much a decentralized maxi. I think the way we get there is by letting them have their permission chains and keeping DeFi going simultaneously, so that once we get the banks roped in, and once they're using the EVM, they look around and they see how good we've got it. They get hungry. And then it's no more permission chains because it costs more money. It is inefficient. It's not as ideal as true freedom.
Yep.
So then we make true freedom happen.
Yep. If you build it, they will come eventually.
Got to get them in the door first.
Yep.
That's the trick.
Yep. We're getting there, though. We're getting there. You're seeing progress on that front. So, okay, all right, very cool. So one thing that I was kind of yeah. So all right. So one thing that I was kind of wondering, right? So as I was, you sent me this previously to like mess around with, and one of the first things that I thought was, what kind of scaling is the tool specifically going to do? What are you guys thinking? So is this always going to be a high leverage long or short option, or are you aiming for Regen to become its own kind of, are you aiming to add all the other trading features that big time traders like being able to do a take profit stop loss on that upfront yield kind of thing? Or is it always just going to be the high leverage long or short option?
It's very much dependent on the success of the tool. We just launched it and we're waiting to see how people use it, if they use it. I mean, hey, everyone listening, go to app.resonate.finance/regen and throw in $5. You can throw in $5. Thing's been audited twice. It's secure as all hell. We don't even allow smart contracts to interact with it. So, believe me, that thing is tighter than a tick. Give it a shot. And then let us know what you think, because if you don't try, you'll never know if you like it. And if you don't tell us what you think of it after you try it, we'll never know what you want.
Yep.
So that is my message here. Go put $5 through it. See how it works.
Yeah, and you're going to get your $5 back. So
yeah, let us know, and if people if there's demand, then we will continue to build it.
Yeah,
that's always got to be the attitude when this sort of stuff is. You build it, you test it, you find out if it works.
Yeah, when I was looking at it, when I was messing around with it, I was trying to put myself kind of in your way of thinking, which I'm never going to get there. But from our the conversations we have had, I was like, man, I wonder if this team is looking to like turn this into their own internal trading platform that's built within Resonate. So I was just kind of wondering about like the scaling of the tool itself.
We definitely would build it out if there was a need for it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't. I mean, we ourselves, we don't. How do I put this? Well, we do trade plenty, actually. What am I saying? We trade a lot. But we don't need this to do our own trading. We're not that advanced. Most of our time is spent on building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, as it should be. I mean, that's what you guys do best. So, okay. All right. So, what else was I going to ask? I had a question on here. I'm trying to get back to it. You had already kind of covered optimism and stuff like that. So I know there's not a ton of documentation out. You have the stuff on Regen portal. I was kind of wondering, are there going to be like specific tokenomics for Regen itself?
No, Regen's not a token. It's everything still links back to the Revest token. But to be honest with you, that token is, well, if you hold it, you'll be rewarded. Put it that way. But I'm not even hold it. It's okay. I've already said too much. But yeah, the Revest token is still a thing. It's still getting 15% of the revenues that Resonate generates. Regen is really just an extension of Resonate. It's using Resonate smart contracts to power it. It's a fancy front, and it helps people to actually have an effective user experience with Resonate.
Yeah.
Be able to figure out what's going on, get through it, and make some money, have some fun. So no, there's never going to be a token for Regen. It's under the umbrella of the greater Revest protocol, Revest finance ecosystem, and under that umbrella, it will be.
And in classic Revest finance, the position is locked in an FNFT.
Oh, absolutely. The positions on Regen are liquid. So let's bring Kirk up here. He can speak to. He's one of our biz devs. He can speak to some of our latest developments. You see him?
Yeah,
Kirk, go ahead
let's
and
get you up here.
You tell him about what we're doing with the FNFTs and lending. And I don't know if he's in a place he can speak if he hadn't requested.
I'll drop him an invite. See if he accepts it. But yeah, that's where I was going next with I felt like we covered Regen pretty good. It's pretty, complex but easily understandable. So I was going to transition into what you guys are doing on the FNFT front, and I've seen some tidbits dripped out about the different things that you guys are working on the lending front. So yeah, definitely wanted to cover that while I had you on here.
Yeah. So we've been working on that development with a partner. We're getting through the Solidity development at the moment, and hoping to have that finalized in the near future. Don't have a timeline on it, mind you, but the goal there is, imagine you came to Regen and you got some FNFT. Okay, you got your FNFTs full GLP. Well, those are still worth GLP, and in a week they'll be worth liquid GLP. So go get a short-term loan of GLP on top of it. Use them as collateral, get say 80-90% of their face value in GLP, and then just loop the transaction. Take that liquid GLP you just got for putting up the NFT as collateral, and come back to Regen and get another NFT, and then repeat this cycle over and over and over and over until you've arbed the rates to the point that they match, which is an awful lot of money.
Yeah. Have you guys modeled that out for the potential returns once you loop that?
No, we don't know what the lending rates are going to be quite yet, but
okay.
I expect they'll be good. I expect we'll be seeing, since you're arbing DeFi rates with lending rates on NFTs, and those two are dramatically out of balance. So if you can successfully arb that, you're talking about a flow of tens to hundreds of millions of dollars just because it's a profitable arb.
Mm-hmm. I'm not the
So
I'm not
we've
the
not done the
best
back
I'm not
testing.
the best arbitrager, but
Well, you and me both, man. That's like, I'm gonna basically leave this to my buddy who writes bots. Provided he cuts me in,
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah,
It's definitely one of those things where it's just like this is ridiculous.
yeah. Old Degenic there in the audience, one of the core team members on DeFi Raiders, always looking for ARB opportunities, and I'm like, yeah, bro, I don't. That's not my cup of tea. I guess I just don't have the time, but I understand like the implications of how profitable it can be, and so to be able to do that with an FNFT position, I think if you had told me that was going to be a thing when I first learned about Revest, right? My buddy sent me. I had just bought like my first JPEGs ever, right? I didn't know anything about DeFi really, and my boy sent me Revest. Was like, man, check this out, and I was like, bro, I don't know what this means. I don't understand any of this. But then as I started to understand, right, and now that I understand like the capabilities of FNFTs in their current state, right, who knows what they could grow to be. Being able to arbitrage positions as opposed to just token balances seems like a whole new way to make a ton of money.
It definitely is going to be a massive sector in space. I mean, you want to talk about how traditional finance works. It's all about, and how people make money in traditional finance. It's just all about finding imbalances and then taking advantage of those imbalances. If you're able to be that guy in TradFi, you can make hundreds of millions in a matter of days. DeFi, I don't think it's any exception. It's a bit higher frequency here. Things equalize more quickly. And we head down to baseline at quite the high rate, depending on what you're talking about. I mean, there's some other guys who do similar things that we do. Problem is their system is just keeps going down because it's rebalancing to its natural level, which is actually unfortunately below GLP's typical performance. But that's just how this works. That's why the way that our system is designed is so ideal, because rather than relying on any DeFi loop of arbitrage to balance our system, it just relies on what a willing participant will pay. A willing buyer will pay a willing seller, and that's how Resonate works. It's just what a willing buyer will pay a willing seller. In the case of Regen Portal, and I realize I forgot this now, we're paying people 52.7% on GLP. And I probably should have mentioned that because that's a lot of money. GLP doesn't normally pay that high.
Yeah.
First $390,000 of depositors, you get 57% on GLP for a week.
Yeah, I skipped right. We started talking about some other things, and I skipped right over the opposite side. Besides the retail user, yeah, what was the benefit of underwriting the positions? Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the what are the typical returns
for the underwriter
for GLP
okay,
right now?
so I'm not actually making this. I'm just tipping my hand here. We want to get people in on this thing. We want them to be experiencing some serious FOMO. So we are actually overpaying for the first $390,000 deposits at this point. We are overpaying by a factor of 2.5. So what you normally can get on GLP, we're literally burning money just as a promotion. It's only a few $1,000s. We'll get a decent amount back. But yeah, we're giving away money to get this thing even more recognition.
That's a good marketing tool.
Thank you. It's cheaper than a thread or Twitter.
Oh man, I was gonna offer you to write you a thread for $10,000. I have like 450 followers on my personal account, bro. I think it's a good deal for you, honestly.
I mean, hey, tell you what, we'll do 11,000.
All right, I think you're shorting me, but because I like you, I'll take the deal. All right. Is this?
This sounds good. We'll make just as long. You got to promise you won't disclose it.
No, yeah. Why would I? I would love to get sued. That's my ultimate end state.
Hello, Mr. SEC man.
Gary Gensler is going to come after me personally somehow. So.
Oh God, don't get me started, man. Hey, on the upside, it turns out that as long as we're doing below $8 billion a year, we're not a swap execution facility, and that's CFTC regs.
$8 billion a year? That's a lot of money.
$8 billion a year. It's a lot of money. The good news is by the time we get to that, I'm sure I'm sure we'll be able to register quite easily.
Yeah, fact. Hey man, I hope for you that you guys get to $8 billion a year. That'd be dope.
I absolutely plan on it. Oh, the Block Magi wants me to link the. Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm happy to link you to the app. That was a gross oversight. Here's the link right there. Hey, Relentless, you think you can pin that?
Where's this at? Oh, in the chat.
I just replied to the Block Magi. It's on this Spaces, right?
Oh yeah.
Let's get this man some GLP. Jesus Christ. Fi, you're up to 730% on that perk. Good God. That is ridiculous.
Let's see, I'm not seeing the... Oh, there it is. Hold on one second. Let me do this from my computer. I am currently in Eastern Europe for work for a while, without disclosing my exact location. So I am... My cell phone decides, since you can only do Twitter Spaces from your phone for whatever reason, my cell phone likes to just freeze up, so I don't want to touch it during this because then it'll magically shit the bed. Let's see.
I mean, I gotta say, man, that checks out. That fully checks out. I hate the Twitter Spaces is on your phone. 1, and 2, I gotta ask. So you're telling me that you're running Black Ops on the Russians?
Well, I am definitely not doing that. No matter who asks me. But
dude, my grandpa taught he was I don't know if you call it tutor or mentor, trained. He trained the Laotian hill tribes to fight the Viet Cong. He was one of the Green Berets doing that shit.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Right?
Yeah, I will. What I will do is once this AMA is over, I will share out a tweet with that link on there so that everyone can check that out.
Yeah, if you guys check the comments on the AMA, it'll be in there too.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, while we got everyone on here, there we go. Kirk, what's up, man?
Yo, look who finally showed up. Kirk, you gotta unmute for us to hear you. All right, at this point, I'm pretty sure he's. Can you guys hear me? Oh, there it is.
There
I was
he
about to
is.
say, I'm pretty sure you're
Yeah.
having AirPods issues at this point.
Does it work?
That also checked out.
I was having
Yeah,
an
we got
AirPods
you
issue.
now.
Twitter's
about that?
rugging people left and right. That's the main problem. What's happening? How
Yeah,
we doing?
it's a great but awful tool. Doing well, man. How are you?
Good, good. Long time no speak. I'm glad to see you're thriving, sir.
I'm trying. I'm trying. It helps that people like you are willing to talk to me. That gives me some street cred.
You're all right.
I appreciate it. I appreciate
we
it.
always enjoy coming on.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
happy to have you, and it's awesome that you guys are always making new stuff to talk about. So gives me content.
We're not fucking stopping. Oh, you know what? I don't think I've even told our community this. I'm gonna tell everyone here.
Oh,
We
let's
figured
go.
out
Alpha
leverage.
drop.
We figured out leverage. Like, not this kind of leverage. Like Regen it's using leverage, right? And that's real cool, and that's really powerful. And we think people are gonna love it. You should, if you have not tried Regen, go try it right now. Put in $5. You don't stand to lose a thing. Anyways, this is a different kind of leverage. With the way Resonate typically works, you can't get leverage. You know, you got to post $100 to have the value of $100 and get paid the interest on $100 upfront. But we finally figured out, in theory, we haven't actually built it yet, but we're probably going to, how to make Resonate work with notional. And notional is why the global derivatives market is a 1 quadrillion market cap, despite there only being about $80 trillion in existence. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Is because of leverage. Is because people pretend money exists that doesn't actually exist, and then trade on the returns. And we figured out how to do that for Resonate. So you can post $10 and treat that $10 as if it were $1,000. And most of the time you'll probably lose, but a decent amount of the time you will probably also win.
Okay,
So,
and you said that's on Resonate, right?
Yeah, this is a feature for Resonate. Now,
Okay.
this could eventually find its way into Regen. Who knows? Like I said, Regen is just an extension of Resonate. Regen is a better interface for Resonate. Because if I'm being honest, Resonate's interface is going to have a complete overhaul for it to actually be intuitive. And that's okay.
So
Nothing wrong with that. Everyone's going to like the new interface. But yeah.
All right. So to clarify here, what you're saying is basically I can deposit a certain amount of money. I can get leveraged upfront yield, basically.
Yeah. In the future. Yeah.
Very cool.
Thank you. It's going to be a very interesting experiment to build.
Yeah. What are if you can, how are you doing that? That's the only way I know how to ask that question.
Black magic. Long story short is that right now the person who's posting the principal can't lose a thing. But if you treat that principal as collateral and take losses out of it, then yeah. Well, suddenly the person who's posting the principal, they can lose money. But they can also treat that money as worth a lot more than it actually is.
Okay, so this creates like an interesting, kind of money loop, right? So I deposit my money on Resonate, I get a leveraged upfront yield, then I deposit that into Regen, and now I've got more money from Regen being on a leveraged trade.
If you want to go levered to the absolute tits, yeah, you actually can. That's technically doable.
Yeah.
I can't say I advise it.
Yeah.
But yes, it will be doable in the future.
Yeah. But then technically all my capital is still protected.
No.
No.
If you're using leverage on Resonate, your capital will not be protected.
Okay. All right. That's what I was
levered.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, that seems.
No, No such thing as a free lunch.
Okay.
If you're going to use leverage, you're going to risk. But if you don't, hey, this won't take away from any functionality.
Okay, that was one of those. This sounds too good to be true, and so that was in what I was thinking in my head. Okay.
There ain't no such thing as a free lunch.
But I think just speaking to that a little bit, and I don't know, I got disconnected, like I said, so I don't know if Rob touched on this, but there's going to be some other tools that we're going to be releasing that maybe like the endpoints of these strategies aren't necessarily like leverage perps, right? It could be going into a leverage yield farm. It could be going into very, very high performing yield farms, and some looping strategies surrounding that. So if I'm thinking about it with my hat on, thinking about those products, you could essentially take your leverage, that Rob is mentioning, and you could use one of those strategies where you go into a yield farm rather than a perp position, and then you can use the yield that you're earning off of those positions to add your collateral on Resonate, so that way you don't get liquidated. Eventually pay back the entirety of it. There's a lot of opportunities that I think that it opens up.
Yeah, super interesting to think about. I mean, it kind of, yeah, honestly, super interesting to think about. That's really all I can say right there. I was just kind of like playing out scenarios in my head.
Yeah, we've got a lot of cool things that we've been cooking up, and I think ultimately what we want to provide is utility for your upfront yield. So you come to Resonate, you get your upfront yield. That's great. Well, now what are some interesting things that we can go and do with that upfront yield? And products and offerings surrounding that train of thought is what you're going to see more and more of, I think, as we go down the road with Resonate on the product roadmap.
Yeah. Take my upfront yield from Resonate, right? Say I don't leverage that, right? I take my money from my upfront money, I deposit into a leverage yield farm. I take my earnings, I deposit those into Regen, and then have a leveraged long or leveraged short there. Opportunity to make a bunch of money. A lot of different plays you can make.
Yeah, there's.
Let me give you.
There's I think Rob, if memory serves me right, I think we're partnered with a leveraged yield farming provider.
That would be Rodeo, sir.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Rodeo has quite a few features that we're going to be taking advantage of with a very similar offering, actually. Could be a Regen Portal V2, who knows. But that'll come out sooner than I think most people are expecting. That's very easy to do.
Yeah,
and what I really want to hammer home.
Rodeo's on my list to talk to. I've been following them since they had like 400 followers.
Those guys are really cool.
Yeah, great project.
So let me just jump in and throw this out there. What is so special about our launch promo that I really want to hammer home? This can happen naturally if you find high enough yielding pools. You could do this with playing some of the stables over on Velodrome. I'm pretty sure you could do this. So if you have something that yields high enough that you can pay out 1% for, say, a week or two lockup, and you can take that 1% and then lever it up 100x, well, now you've got a position. If you locked up $100, you've got $1 up front, levered it up 100x, you've got a $100 position. Why is this so interesting? Because if you have a $100 position in long, short, or ETH, and your collateral is either stable or semi-stable, what you're doing is you are holding, say, dollars. We're going to use dollars since that is the gold standard for this strategy. You hold dollars, and you have a position on Ethereum that is equal to your dollars. So you have equivalent exposure of your collateral to Ethereum without actually risking your dollars. You can have full delta exposure of how much money you have without ever buying Ethereum and risking Ethereum's downside.
Very cool.
I can hold stable coins and make as much money as I would from holding Ethereum using the Regen portal. Right now, I can only hold GLP. GLP's fucking stable. So I can hold semi-stable coins and right now make as much money as I would from holding an equal amount of Ethereum. Or short it, depending on direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
There isn't another product that can do anything like this.
No, and I mean, I know a lot of people who prefer to hold stables and be able to put their stables to work, as opposed to, you know, holding volatile assets. I mean, there's, you know, obviously some of that depends on your wallet size, right? Like at some point it makes sense to, you know, my bag certainly ain't big enough to be worried about holding tons of Bitcoin and Ethereum, but I know that that is definitely attractive for the people who want to be mostly exposed to stables and put their stables to work, as opposed to being exposed to only volatile assets. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good point too, because I mean, you know, the DeFi space, you know, at least for me, like it's it's a space for my dollars where I can get outsized returns versus what I could maybe look at from TradFi. And like Rob just said, I think what we're looking to do is kind of leverage the upfront yield capabilities of Resonate, so that way you can get these kind of returns safely, you know, without ever risking your principal. And I think that's going to unlock the next wave of adoption for retail, and then also for so we're really excited for that.
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys. It's you know, when you think long term about what the opportunities are here for you, and you guys have the right focus too, right? So you're offering things to retail users, but you're focused on bringing that TradFi money, and offering those attractive returns to the TradFi users. You know, it's beneficial to everyone. So yeah, I'm definitely excited for you guys for your future.
I really appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're a fan.
Yeah. Like I said, the first time I tried to read your white paper, I'd been in DeFi for like 3 months, and I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know why my friend sent it to me, because I was like, bro, I just bought my first JPEG. I don't know what this shit is. But it's, and I literally I had just bought a BitDaemon from Lucky Luciano, who I'm great friends with, and I'm glad I purchased it, because I got into like a great Discord group and like made some good friends there. But he sent me that, and I was like, bro, what the fuck is this? I don't know. But now that I do understand it, it is super awesome, and it is also, you know, super cool to have watched your guys' evolution. And to see you guys just continue to build on it. So super excited for you. Super glad that I get to get you guys on here to talk about it too. So
Much appreciated. It is fantastic being here. This has been absolutely wonderful.
yeah. Well, I don't have any more questions. Anybody in the audience, if you guys have any more time, anybody want to ask anything? I got a big brain out here, DeFi traders out here. Anybody else? If you got anything, now's your chance. If not, Rob, Kirk, I'll turn it over to you and let you give kind of your final message. If we don't see anybody raise their hand. Oh, yep. I knew he'd have a question.
Let's go ahead and see it.
All right, once he connects. Rob, Kirk, this is DeFi Trader. Him and I are teamed up on and working on a few things together. Really great dude, runs a great community. So yeah, the floor is yours, brother.
He's either muted or he got rugged just like I did.
Okay, I can hear you now. Hopefully my mic is working.
Appears to be.
Yeah, thanks for the intro. I appreciate that.
Twitter's got to fix this, man. They got the most buggy UX I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And like you had like this suggestion of going on recording these. That's pretty good. So I appreciate that. I had a question about the arbitrage that you mentioned. I was wondering if you can like speak about that a little bit more. To just give you like an example of what I'm mainly focusing on is there was some big opportunities being able to arbitrage this yield across different protocols. So one of the protocols that does this is Pendle Finance. Another one is that does this is Flash Stake. And there's always opportunities between these two environments, just like there is arbitrage opportunities on like.
Or maybe it's just me. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Kurt. Keep going. DeFi trader?
Yeah, I can hear.
Yeah, I think.
Can you hear me?
Kurt, hold on. Give me a sec.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Kirk, yeah, he's talking. Go ahead, trader.
Oh, okay. So where was I? There's these arbitrage opportunities that we see on Dexys, for example, since people are probably more familiar with that, versus like you have SushiSwap on one end, so then you have Uniswap on another. You might have the same pools on both exchanges, but the prices are different. So arbitragers are taking advantage of the price difference. Right. That's like a more familiar way of looking at it. But with you guys, you could take advantage of the discrepancies of the variance in yield percentage. So I was wondering, like, could you just talk about that and how you see that playing out, or just your insights?
Yeah. I read the calculator guy's thread on Flash Stake and Pendle the other day, and I've looked into Flash Stake pretty deeply. As far as I can tell, their yields are only going to continue to go down because there's a 36-month imbalance in the point that F tokens are actually backed 1-to-1 with GLP. But with Pendle, definitely, I think there's definitely some good arbitrage opportunities between us and them, and for the time, us and Flash Stake. The Pendle one is probably the more direct route, because you can take both sides with Pendle the same way you can take both sides with Resonate. So I know the calculator guy did a thread on how to do that. If you just replace Flash Stake in that thread with Resonate, it works. We actually had, I think we have a thread on that ourselves coming out sometime in the near future. It's didn't want to put it out, in the middle of getting the regen portal out. But yeah, that's something we are well aware of, and you can absolutely make some money on that. And we're more than happy to help you make some money on that, actually.
Nice. That's answering my question. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. When you go to the Resonate app, if you're trying to do this directly from Resonate, I'm going to warn you, it is a bit of a confusing space at first. Read the docs. We're in the middle of rebuilding that user interface. But you'll see that there's a lot of trades on the purchaser side. For the ARB that the calculator guy talks about, you're going to want to take the issuer side. And though it may look like there's only a few $100s on the purchaser side, because of the way the system works and the rates that you're getting paid out at, it's like $2,000 in one pool and $4,000 in another. That'll underwrite respectively, I think, 500,000 and like 800,000 in deposits. So don't be thrown off by the small numbers. Hover over the orders. It'll tell you how much it can actually underwrite on the fixed side. That's the important number.
So regarding that interface and just the complexity that people might see right off, like firsthand, is there any like plans to maybe have a simpler UX? There's like maybe like a pro mode or like a light mode, and then here's another. Oh, go ahead.
Resonate. We're planning on using Regen as kind of as a template for that rebuild, right? So for phase one of that, it looks like you go to Region, you say, I want to lock up for 1 week, 2 weeks, or 4 weeks, and it'll tell you the going rate for the asset that you want to lock up. I really like Flash Stakes UI. I will fully admit to taking a great deal of inspiration from the way they organized it. I'm a big fan. And while I don't think the mechanisms they have on offer are as good as ours, I love their user experience. So it'll look very similar to what the Region portal currently looks like, this light mode. The same can be said of the guys who are underwriting. It's going to function very similar to a spot order book, and then it'll just look for where there's support, and then, hey, okay, you want to take one side, here's the other side's closest neighbor. All right, that'll function just fine with the existing system. The existing system will continue to function for the more advanced mode, but over time we want to rebuild the more advanced mode as well, and that's phase 2. Phase 2 looks like an order book UI, because really what you're doing when you use Resonate is you're placing bids and offers on the upfront rate that you're willing to either pay or the upfront rate that you want to get paid. The payer and the receiver, the purchaser and the issuer. And in this case, the guy who's paying the upfront rate, he'd want to pay a lower rate, so he's going to bid low. And the guy who's receiving the upfront rate, he's going to want to receive a higher upfront rate, so he'll bid high. And then just like in an order book, just like think about Binance, think about Coinbase, think about any order book you've ever seen. We can track what the going rate is over time, and we can also show you where orders are. There's an order here for at paying out at a 27% fixed rate, and then there's an order here at paying out at a 15%. For receiving it at a 15% fixed rate. I got those backwards, but you get the idea. That's what we want to do with the UI in phase 2, is build it into, first, a simple spot market, and then a more complicated order book flow.
Nice. I think that order book model is really a great way to go about that.
Thank you.
I had another question regarding it's kind of like a two-pronged question, I guess, regarding integrations and your UI regarding integrations. So I don't know if you're familiar with a protocol that is like an aggregator for like what you're doing, where you're aggregating all these different yields together, and then it will give you like the best pricing, almost like a 1inch, which is a DEX aggregator, right?
You talking about like Illuminate?
Yeah, Illuminate.
Yeah, I know about Illuminate. It's an impressive concept. I don't know how easy it will be for us to integrate, since I'd like to integrate, for one, but I don't know how easy it will be, because their system is designed around ERC20 tokens. We use financial NFTs to represent our positions. I definitely would be interested in talking to them. Kirk, Kirk's one of our BDs. Kirk, after this call, can you work on getting in touch with those dudes? I'd be interested in talking with them. I question how easy it would be to integrate, just because we're such a different system than the way other people have done it. But I am interested. Our system is a lot more efficient than any of the other models out there, since we don't use any AMMs. And that means that we can scale to support much higher volumes, that we can scale to support much larger orders with a lot more efficiency than any of the contemporary solutions. For example, if you try to go put a 5 million order through on Pendle right now, it won't work, because there's just not enough liquidity in the system. That's the advantage of using an order book, is that you get around the inefficiency that AMMs introduce. And when you're talking about layer 2s, it honestly just makes more sense. That all said, the answer to your question is, yeah, I'd like to integrate. I am more than happy to get ourselves in there, and I think especially when you're talking about large liquidity orders, that makes a ton of sense.
I think that would be great if that's a viable solution for integration, because it just creates another avenue for people to provide liquidity to your protocol. So I think that might that would be great. If you're able to get into like the aggregated. I had another question about the UI.
Go ahead.
It is really good to have like those two versions you were saying, like the light mode and then like the pro mode, or like the simple mode or advanced mode. I'm wondering about for people that just don't want to deal with this at all, but want to have the advantages of what you're offering. I know that you might be able to like, or this is like a question, I guess. Would you be able to integrate with another protocol for, let's say, like even like integrate into like GMX and then have within the GMX UI say, hey, we're offering this this opportunity versus the regular GLP?
Yeah, that's actually been a long-standing desire of ours, is to have those sorts of integrations. GLP is someone we'd very much like. GMX, we already partnered with them to at launch, and we'd very much like to work with them on something like that. We've spoken to a few DEXs who are interested in offering that functionality, and that is something of a long-term goal. It's at the moment it makes more sense to pursue wholesale of that, which is a very similar strategy where you are integrating into someone else's platform. But at the moment, it makes the most sense to pursue that with prime brokers, since the capital there is significantly larger in size. We're talking about 1 million versus 100 million in terms of the size that people are going to be deploying via that sort of an interface. That all said, 100% it's something we're extremely interested in. Our main limitations right now are that we are in the middle of a raise, so our time is a bit split. Once we get that wrapped up, likely in the next 3 or 4 weeks, I'd say. Yeah, we're looking at about 3 or 4 weeks. Then we should be able to apply a lot more time to developing those sorts of features and bringing on the people needed to develop out those sorts of features.
Great. That's all the questions I had. I appreciate that.
No, I love talking about this stuff, man. I'm glad you're interested.
Oh, super interested. I'm really excited to play around with everything that I heard today. It'll give me like a better way to doing it now. So before, I'll be honest, I looked at the website. I was like, whoa, what is this? I didn't dig in too much though, because I saw this AMA. I was like, well, this is the best place to get my answers or questions answered. So I really appreciate it.
Of course. We the next thing after this is getting the light mode implemented. But I appreciate it. Feel free to shoot me or my team any questions you've got. Happy to help get you onboarded.
All right. Yo, great questions, bro. Glad you came up. That was awesome. I learned a lot from that. Okay, so I mean, if anybody else, I didn't see anybody else raise their hands, Rob, so I'll just, what I like to do, as usual, is turn the floor over to you, let you put out your final message to the audience.
Yeah. So if you haven't tried Regen yet, head over to our Twitter. There is a link right there that'll tell you how to use it and how to get onboarded. It definitely read the medium. We put a lot of love into that medium, so we're quite happy to have people reading through it. And give it a shot. You got $5, go play with it. So thank you all so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope you enjoy what we built for you.
Yeah,
take care, everyone.
Thank you, Rob. Always a pleasure. You hit me up anytime you want to come on. Always happy to host you guys. Learn a lot from you and love what you guys are building. So I really appreciate your time, and thanks again.
Thanks so much, Relentless.
Yeah, man.
You guys take care.
All right. Have a good night.
You as well. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. It's a pleasure to have you. Couldn't do this without you. Once again, I'm Relentless from DeFi Raiders. If you're hearing this now on YouTube for the first time, please hit that like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.